Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game. So today I got a fun and exciting video for you guys today, and some good news if you're into the Sega Dreamcast emulation. That is because a day ago, at least the recording of this video, Flycast got a very big, very meaty update, bringing in some new features and fixing up some issues with some games. And honestly, as I've said in previous videos, if you want to emulate Sega, Dreamcast, NAOMI, or NAOMI 2, Flycast is my de facto recommendation. Don't get me wrong, Redream does a great job as well, but for me, using Flycast is just seamless, and when I actually talk about emulation and teach it to you guys, it is the one I want to talk about. And getting better Dreamcast, NAOMI, and NAOMI 2 emulation is always going to be a thing I'm going to talk about on the channel. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. And it's definitely been a busy week and a half for stuff like Jet Set Radio or Jet Grind Radio, depending on where you're from, because the Jet Set Radio decompilation project is in full swing, and you're also going to get some Jet Grind Radio improvements in this version of Flycast. You'll see here version 2.6 is out. It's going to bring a metric crap ton of changes and improvements. I'm not going to go over each and every one of them. I'm going to do the high level stuff, but if you do want to read all these different notes, the link in the description below to the project's GitHub. You'll see one of the fun things is match code server for battle cable games, F355 virtual on, and others. And before you think that's going to be online support, it really isn't. The battle cable was a Dreamcast exclusive in Japan. As far as actually connecting more than one console together, it's not something that everyone's going to use, but it's definitely going to be something that is fun in the future. And honestly, the games that come along for the ride are going to be excellent, like Ferrari F355 Challenge here. Now, I will say right off the top, this game is still a game that I absolutely just cannot figure out how to get better at, because it is absolutely a capital S sim in all of the best ways. And whether you want to play something like the actual NAOMI version of the game, whether you want to play something like the Dreamcast version of the game, you are covered in Flycast, and it's definitely something that you absolutely want to play. Because don't forget, Flycast isn't just the Sega Dreamcast, even if I feel like that's how 9 out of every 10 users interact with the thing. You can run the entirety of the Sega NAOMI library, and you can run the entirety of the Sega NAOMI 2 library as well, which is basically Dreamcast 2, except it never actually released as a console. But getting the actual battle cable incorporated in here as well, it's not going to be something that everybody uses, but if you take the time to set it up, you're going to absolutely have fun with friends. And that is amazing, because this is basically taking emulation and bringing it across multiple instances so you can interact with other consoles in a virtual way. And that's why I love developers like the Flycast team, because they keep putting more and more fun features into the emulator. Because if all they did was make sure every single game played flawlessly and walked away, people would be 100% happy with that. But the fact that you get all of these tangential, kind of around the edge features is just a testament to how deep the team of developers is going to go into Dreamcast, NAOMI, and NAOMI 2 emulation, and just how much fun they're actually going to bring to you. Because Ferrari F355 is a beautiful game. It is fun to play with friends, but just trust me, it's going to take you dozens upon dozens of hours to get good. And even though I played this game a ton, I still really haven't cracked the code. Now going back to the actual what's changed list as well, you're going to see Outrigger and Power Smash online gaming support. If you've never played Outrigger before, 10 out of 10 fun game. It's basically like a colorful Sega arcade, Quake 3 Arena, or any other online multiplayer shooter. Kind of feels something that would have come out on the Model 3 with a little bit of a spike out or slash out vibe, except with the weapons. And it is another game absolutely made so much better by being able to get online with it, because it's one of those things. This was fun as a local multiplayer game, but Dreamcast really was that first console that tried to make one of their cornerstones online gameplay. You leave me a comment down below and you tell me, did you ever play Outrigger back in the day, and did you know it existed? Because I feel like this one, more so than a lot of the other games that did support online, just seems to be forgotten about at this point in time. And that's an absolute bummer, because Outrigger deserves all the attention it can get. So if you've never tried this one out before, I can't recommend it enough. It's basically like Quake 3 Arena if Sega just decided to make it an arcade game and not a game that was more PC focused. It has all that Sega fun going on, and it is a title that I feel like if you haven't checked out before, you're going to find a lot to love here. If you have played it, leave me a comment down below and you tell me what you think. It's also going to be our first of 2 soundtrack samples, just because I enjoy the music and sound effects in this game. So go ahead and listen for 45 seconds and I'll be right back with a lot more Flycast improvements to talk about. Super fun game, super fun soundtrack. I'm going to see some awesome improvements in this version of Flycast. But I do like that developers give you a list of fixed games, even if it's not really very specific as to what is fixed. Sometimes you're just going to see things like Sonic Adventure and you're going to wonder to yourself what has been fixed in there. And that's maybe when you go over to the GitHub issue tickets and see what people have reported. But something like Zombie Revenge on the input side of things, you're going to see an improvement there as well. If you've never played Zombie Revenge before, it definitely isn't as good as a mainline House of the Dead entry because it is a spin-off, but it is still a lot of fun. And trust me, if you have a game night with friends over and you want to play some good Dreamcast or NAOMI arcade style games, boot up Zombie Revenge, because you'll see here both Tom and G are on the actual menu there, as well as an email called HOD or House of the Dead. And that really is fun because this game does have a link to the House of the Dead franchise, and it is one of those Sega arcade games. Absolutely a ton of fun to play. And just like Outrigger before, kind of feels a little bit of something like Slash Out or Spike Out, except with guns in this actual game. And this is fun again because there's so many different ways to play these games. You could load up something like the Dreamcast version of the game, or you could load up something like the NAOMI version of the game because they do have differences, and that is a lot of fun to realize that the games that got ported home to Dreamcast from NAOMI are basically one-to-one, but they can have different areas in the game, they can have different difficulty curves or changes between the actual home port and the arcade original. And I love that you get to go back to the Curian Mansion here in Zombie Revenge for just a little bit. But something like this drill here, one of the most famous weapons from the zombies in the game, it just is so much fun to wield and absolutely chew the ever-loving hell out of these scrub zombies in front of you. And that again is why I love Flycast so much, because I'm always trying to get people to play more NAOMI and NAOMI 2 games. The fact that it supports it through and through is absolutely outstanding. You can leave a comment down below and you tell me, Zombie Revenge, did you play it back in the day? And is it in your collection? Because it's sitting right next to the rest of my House of the Dead games, because I kind of actually line my games up based upon sometimes franchise and not just the console. You're also going to see Jet Set Radio got audio improvements and King of Route 66 got microphone support, and that is going to be a big deal. We'll talk about Jet Set Radio first, and then we'll move over to King of Route 66. And because I just talked about, again, the Jet Set Radio future decomp progress, this is something that I really think it's just so much fun to have, because Jet Set Radio has an incredible soundtrack, it has incredible sound effects as well, and there's been some audio improvements around the edges, and that kind of is where Flycast is at this point in time. It is doing an exceptional job of actually emulating these systems, but of course it isn't 100% perfect, so the developers go in and try to make these fixes to give you a better experience. As far as the performance is concerned, not really anything that's going to make it run on a potato if it didn't before, but you're still going to see some emulation fixes here and there. Here's your soundtrack sample, and I'll be right back with more.
Jet Set Radio! Those cats who ransacked Shibuya Cho turned out to be the Love Shockers. Love broke their hearts, and now they're looking to do some breaking of their own. Watch out for these psychos. When you see their heart-shaped graffiti around, you know someone somewhere is crying with a uki uki waku waku feeling. Can the GG save Shibuya Cho from the trap of love, or is it too late?
Now moving over to King of Route 66, when it said microphone support, that is because the arcade cabinet here would actually basically have what amounts to a CB radio that you could yell into and use turbo on your big rigs. And that is something that would have to be emulated over on the Flycast side of things to actually work properly, and that is something that has been added as of this version of Flycast. And because I love Sega and I love arcade racing games, King of Route 66, 10 out of 10 fun in my opinion, not just because it takes place at least to start in the city of Chicago. If you weren't aware, the start point of Route 66 is downtown, maybe about 2 blocks away from where my wife actually works every single day, about a block away from where I went to college at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. So taking a big rig like this through downtown Chicago, 10 out of 10 fun. And trust me, there was a button that you can activate the turbo as well without yelling into a microphone. But if you have a racing wheel and pedal setup and you want to use your computer's microphone to actually interact with this game, you can do that now. And that again is why I love Flycast and Dreamcast development as far as emulation is concerned. The developers aren't just happy enough to have this game running perfectly if you have the rig, pun very much intended PC spec wise, to get it full speed. They're gonna put those small things around the edges like the microphone. And just like the Blues Brothers jumping over one of the Chicago River bridges here, something I would love to actually see in real life. I don't know why no stunt groups ever advocated for the city of Chicago to let them jump that bridge once, so I can just see someone absolutely send it over it once in my lifetime. Would absolutely love to see something like that. Completely adjacent and completely not part of this actual video, but I just think it would be a fun time. But if you want to grab the most recent version of Flycast, I can't recommend it enough. Better Dreamcast emulation, better NAOMI emulation, and better NAOMI 2 emulation, all in one application. You really can't beat that. You can leave me a comment down below and you tell me if you ever played King of Route 66. I would be curious. And I'll see you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye-bye.